Whether it's the bite, the fight, the fish, or the people we chase them with, fishing is an amazing way to connect to what really matters. From the beginner to the experienced angler, there's always more to do, explore, or try in fishing. This is a chance to discuss and celebrate all of it. This is the Love of Fishing podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Love of Fishing podcast. I'm your host, Lyle Gator. This is a show dedicated to sharing our love of the sport, discussing and educating all things fishing, and always having a good time. If you're a new viewer or listener, welcome. I appreciate you tuning in this week because we've got a great show ahead. This week's sponsor of the Love of Fishing podcast is the Silver Salmon Challenge, and we'd like to thank them for their continued support of the podcast. The Silver Salmon Challenge is Lake Ontario's premier salmon fishing tournament with a top prize of $100,000. Yes, you heard it right, $100,000 this year. With more on this great event, let's jump into this week's Love of Fishing podcast. Hey everybody, this week's guest on the show is Charter Captain and Silver Salmon Challenge founding father, Nick Foxcroft. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hey Lyle, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. I know we got a lot of great things to cover about your event that's coming up. We're hoping to do this in about February. It's going to hit the air. So, not too long after that, we'll be starting to think about fishing for kings. First things first, I do this little thing just to get to know my guests a little bit more. Obviously, I know you through tournament fishing and fishing in Port Credit, but for people who are tuning in that maybe don't know your background, your history, I like to do these questions just to kind of get familiar.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Shoot away.
Okay. So first question, what is the last song that you listened to on your phone, computer, or in your truck?
Wow. Can't say I have much music going on. I'm more of a talk radio guy, but the last song, I would hate to say it might be one of my kids' songs playing on there. Honestly, can't even figure it out for you right now.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Got me right off guard there. We're starting here on the
I try and destabilize my guests when they come on.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I'm kidding, but the last guy that I interviewed, he said he couldn't tell me either. So I guess people are either really dialed into the music or maybe not so much. So that's okay. I'll move on to food. What's your favorite sandwich and why?
Favorite sandwich? Well, another throw you curveball here, but my wife just got us on a keto diet starting several months ago. And to be honest, I sure missed sandwiches for a while, but they've become a thing of the past. So, but if we're going to go back to the olden days, yeah, nice California chicken sandwich. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
yeah, I do like those. Yep. So you're an avocado guy then?
Yeah, she hides it in the food, but yeah, it's definitely it's good. It's been good. A lot of changes, dinners are a little more tough to get around for the family with the kids not being on it, but it's been good. It's been good getting shedding some weight for the up and coming fishing season.
You made mention of your kids. Third question I've got is actually, who's your favorite Disney character?
Favorite Disney character? I don't know if he's Disney, but it's marine themed. I'm going to go with Popeye.
Okay. Yeah, definitely in the cartoon realm for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the awkward, strange questions out of the way. And now we'll get back into to fishing, because that's what this is all about, is about fishing. So first question, how did you get into fishing?
Well, I think like many, I was introduced to it by my father. At a young age, he would get me out a bit, but unfortunately, he was a hard worker like many dads, and, they didn't have a lot of time to fish. They're busy working. So I kind of got introduced to it. I was lucky enough to grow up along the shores of Lake Ontario. So like many, the rivers, I was just drawn to the rivers, your rainbows, your king runs and all that. I'm up in my early 40s now. So going back to my childhood, those runs were incredible. You go down there, you didn't have to have much talent to get into fish, but I was taken. That was it for me. I hate to say, if I ever skip school, it was to go fishing because, we had a rainfall the night before, and it was getting out in the creek with a couple of the boys. So that was my main introductory to the fishing world.
Mm-hmm. So did you grow up in the Mississauga area? Because I know that's where you're located now.
Yeah, no, I didn't venture far. I was born and raised just north of Port Credit along the shores of Credit River there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it.
Cool. So that was your first experience then with fishing for king salmon and some of the other cold water species.
Most definitely. I don't know if it's become my favorite now just because that's what I was introduced to, but also growing up with fishing with my father, I was lucky enough that he planned a lot of family vacations. I won't say a lot, but when we had them, and I kind of was very lucky to be introduced to many different fisheries through that aspect. And
Yeah.
yeah, I always appreciate that.
So this past year, obviously you've had a great career, tournament fishing, charter fishing. Tell me a little bit about the Silver Salmon Challenge and how that got started this past year.
Well, I think we'll all agree when the pandemic hit, everyone was kind of upside down with not knowing what was going on. And all we kept hearing was no, don't, you can't stop. And I understand that a lot of things were put in place for health regulations and a lot of protocols and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But as being such a big part of the fishing community as my life, when that one announcement came on through social media that our event that we become so accustomed to and became such a staple in the industry that we all look forward to each year was canceled, I was taken. Like many were, the messages went out flying of disappointment and of concern. I can also appreciate the stand that they had, that we didn't know what was safe and what to go and how our daily life would continue on. So I felt I had to take some initiative to do whatever we could for the possibility of us being able to hit the waterways.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, the launch ramps, I mean, they weren't open. We were banking or at least predicting that there would be a calm in the storm and we would return to our daily lives of fishing. Maybe not work related, but getting out of the water is such a big part of a lot of people's livelihoods. Whatever we could do to help motivate. I mean, we're all going to fish. No doubt about that. We're all going to get out there, fish,
Yep.
and enjoy it. But our fishery is so accustomed to these events. And I don't say it's prize driven fishing. These guys aren't going out there, to win it all, although I'm sure they would like to.
Mm-hmm.
But the notoriety, them sharing with their friends, their families, it's a big deal. So we had to do whatever we could to make sure that these people still have their platform to go about this.
Absolutely. So you're the director of the tournament. Who else is on your team?
We came together quick. We conversed. Myself, we reached out to Ivan Charwa. He's a charter fisherman as well, and he runs the King of the Lake series. So Ivan and I first started chatting, and we reached out to my team. My team is guys that have jumped on board from a few years back, from mating, becoming captains, and that would be Danny Favato. You guys probably know him as Fly Inspired. A lot of his videos. He's a big part of helping get footage of our fishery out to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Denali, he joined the Moby Nick team about 3 or 4 years ago. Incredible guy, a hard worker, and had a lot to offer. And then Keelan Neal, geez, fresh out of university, started working for me about 12 years ago for Moby Nick, mating, then becoming captain. So we all knew we could work together, as you probably would understand.
Mm-hmm.
When you spend that much time together in a boat, if you can't work together, the relationships end quick. So yeah, we all welcomed the task, and everyone had something to offer, and we went with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. What you're saying about, working together and having people that are like-minded. I think in general, the fishing community and those that charter, we understand where we're all coming from, right? When we get out on the water, what we love about doing that. So that's really amazing that you guys were able to assemble and get things off the ground as quick as you did.
Yeah, well, passion based, just fishermen, we all share that same passion. No matter what aspect of it all, we want to be involved and do what we can with it. And I find the more passionate you are, the better the product comes out. So yeah, no, it was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. We were zooming. My kids were always in the background, and we were trying to find yeah, trying to find quiet rooms to get these zooms in to try to put everything together to make sure we put out the exactly what the guys needed. So
Yeah.
uh, I was introduced to Zoom that day, and I'm probably their biggest user over those past few months there.
Yeah, yeah, it's become a part of so much of how we interact. And I just want to say from my perspective, I got a boat ticket last year. It was such a fun event to be a part of, sharing, like you talked about, the notoriety, getting a ticket so that you're in the hunt, but also something to share with your friends. Like, come on, like, let's go. We're gonna go fish this. I've got this ticket. We could win this prize. It was great to have something to get excited about at a time where, like you said, there's so much that was just upside down. What would you say the most difficult part of the project was? Like starting it up in such uncertain times?
The uncertainty, all the efforts that went towards it really could have been crushed by regulations, protocols, or even lockdowns. So there was a bit of a nerve wracking with those circumstances. But as spring came in, which turned into summer, we saw that things were improving. At least with people being able to get out, launch ramps were opening, tackle stores were opening, and as well as I do, you can only coop up a fisherman so long, and then
Mm-hmm.
he's gone. Yeah, boats are full of fuel and they're out flying, and yeah, we were just excited to keep that platform out there for these guys. We decided to open up as a not-for-profit organization with the understanding that this driving force behind this event is for the fishery. So we wanted to be able to give back to whatever we could to the fishery.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit of a learning curve there, but we got introduced to the right people, and the process actually became simpler than first thought. So the next challenge I found for myself, I'm a proud guy. A lot of fishermen are. They have a large sense of pride,
Yep.
and that's probably for our non-fishing community. Their buddy will tell them fishing stories until they have to tell them to stop. They all want to talk about their best fish, and unless your audience is on the same level, your fishing stories might get a bit tiring. So I carry that sense of pride in a lot of stuff I do. And once we first started getting our name out there, we had a lot of messaging of guys appreciative, guys thanking, oh, I didn't know what I would do. We had guys' wives message us saying, thank God you're getting my husband out of the house fishing.
No
So
way.
yeah, it was pretty neat to get that aspect. But we also had a few, and not to say it had too much of an impact, but guys that don't have faith in it. I struggle with people that might not know me or know what I do.
Mm-hmm.
That might jump out to say, "Oh, you guys can't do this. This isn't possible." And I took that more as a challenge, more than an insult,
Yeah,
because I know what the fishery deserves, because I've been a part of it for so long that everything I was going to do, I would do my best at. And I think the general consensus at the end of the day was everyone was pleased. I mean, those emails kept coming. And to be honest, those late nights or those hard work, and you get some older gentleman that's been fishing the lake for 25, 30 years that just pours his heart out of appreciation, kind of was a good drive behind it all.
for sure. Yeah, that's it's so funny that you said that people's wives were calling in and emailing and saying thank you. That just goes to show you that it's all related somehow, right?
True. Very true. Yeah.
What are some of the parts to running an event like that are difficult that maybe people don't see? They buy a ticket, they go out fishing, and that's hard work, and competing in it's hard work in itself. But as an event organizer, what's involved?
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty widespread question. I mean, to be honest, the guys that participate shouldn't really have to worry about what goes on in our day to day to keep the runnings good. You get guys that want to volunteer to help out, But, at the end of the day, our participants want a well-oiled machine and just a smooth event. So a lot of catering to our weigh scales. And I won't say the weigh scale attendants or the marinas, but you can imagine our lake's quite wide, quite long. So,
Mm-hmm.
we had weigh scales, spanning from St. Catharines to Wellers Bay campground there that Bill helped us out with. We want to be on top of our participants' weigh-ins. We want to make sure those weights are delivered. And it is a big deal to coordinate everyone to call in and to organize these weights that we could present them at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys catch that prize catch, and they want to show their wife their name in that top 10 leaderboard, especially if they're first place. That's the biggest thrill, and we definitely have to do everything we can to allow them to enjoy that as much as we enjoy it for them, right? So that was very important to me to make sure that was done. And again, that widespread coordination was a bit of a stressful part of the event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that working at the tackle store, there has to be buy-in from those people as well, because their staff are helping with the weight, and they're sending the info to you, and it's all, like you said, a well-oiled machine. But I think, following along last year and being a member, competing in it was definitely just that, a well-oiled machine. So I'm excited for this year's event, maybe even more than last year, because I know how well it turned out.
Definitely. And, back to that machine, there's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of it comes on volunteer. And these weigh scales, a lot of them were marinas, fuel docks. You can imagine last year was one of the busiest years on the waterways, not just fishermen, but everyone getting out and enjoying it. So these marinas had their hands full, not only with their clients, but also with all the protocols in place. And we were quick to acknowledge that and kind of put in protocols for our weigh-ins to simplify it for them, to allow them to be able to work with it. The last thing these people want is more on their plate with everything we were dealing with. Now it almost seems like it's forgotten about what we went through.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we went through and jumped through a lot of hoops as a community. And for these guys to take on that extra tasks of helping this event out, understanding on the same page of what it's worth to the fishermen and the boaters, we can't thank them enough. And, we're really appreciative of them too, as so should the participants, and I know a lot of them express their gratitude to the weigh scales to be a part of it, knowing without them, there wouldn't be an event. So it was good in that aspect.
So I know that last year it was 35 grand. That was top prize. This year, 100,000. What's your biggest goal for the event? And maybe it's not about how much prize money there's going to be, but just overall, what's your biggest goal?
Yeah, well, you say that the 35,000, we didn't know what the public could bear. We tried to understand. A lot of people weren't working then, or a lot of people were working in different ways, which gave them more access to the water. We kind of set our ticket pricing and pricing around what we thought the public could bear. The public was fine with it. It all went well. Everyone was excited. So we kind of thought, we know where we're at with everyone. Now let's try to make a splash. Our fishery, I won't say it is thinning out, but our participation levels around the lake are on the decline, and they have been since late 90s there. A lot of the people that started in this fishery when the salmon were first getting stocked, they loved it. And as everyone grows older, their accessibility and their means of getting out fishing decline. So in saying that, the youth, I won't say it's all youth driven now, because that's furthest from the point, but it's time to reintroduce people to salmon fishing. It's time to create more awareness. It's time to reach out to the public that I shouldn't say might not even know. I know for a fact that the majority of the people I talked about salmon fishing don't even know there's salmon in our lake.
Absolutely.
even through my charters, I have guys get on board. A lot of our groups are corporate driven groups, right? So, a company, someone in the company, they enjoy fishing. They're passionate fishing. They want to share it with whoever they bring out of their businesses, if they're entertaining and whatnot. We get a lot of guys coming on the boat. Oh, there's no fish out here. I grew up three-eyed fish and all these silly sayings. And to be honest, I find myself biting my tongue, trying not to take offense to it. But I also look at it as an opportunity to educate. So a big part, I know I'm getting off topic here, but it kind of all ties in. A big part of my charters is I want to educate whoever comes out, and I want them leaving at the end of the day going, I had no idea. That was an incredible day. I got to tell my friends about it, and I got to bring my family out.
Yeah.
So as I've learned that over the years, I realized Lake Ontario, outside of our fishing community and diehards, do not know what's out in our lake. And to be honest, the way the world's going, the West Coast with all their troubles, I mean, this is the best salmon fishing we have in the world now. And I think it needs to be appreciated, and we need to educate people about it. So the large prize base is for our participants because, I won't say 100,000 is life changing, but it's borderline life changing.
That's borderline life changing. Absolutely.
Exactly. So if we can share that with our participants, but also use that, as you know, the bigger the package, the more exposed it's going to get, the more people are going to hear about it, the more it's going to spread. We're going to take this on a piece of paper that's $100,000 and it's going to spread. Social media wise, everything, it's going to become a conversation. And I think that's the start of it. That's where we got to get people getting back out and enjoying fishing, educating it, and until we'll get our fishery back to where it used to be with the participation levels.
Awesome. I can't say enough about what that means as an angler, like to know that there's people that want to share that. As you know, I do some salmon stocking with the Port Dalhousie area here, St. Catharines Game and Fish, and I see that as well. People don't know that there's salmon. So when you tack on, hey, there's salmon, that's fun, and there's $100,000 up for grabs, I think that's definitely a winning combination.
Definitely. And, we're going to do everything we can. I mean, who knows where we'll go, but this year is what we got to do. And that's what we're going to roll with, and we're going to make it as big as we can.
It's awesome. How can people contact you about the event?
So we have our website, silversalmonchallenge.com. That has pricing details, dates, a write-up about the team, about what the event's about. A lot of people too, and of course you're gonna reach those people through social media. This podcast, great way to reach out to people because it's great. This time of year, I can't fish. I mean, I can't salmon fish at least, but I still want to talk about it. And yourself giving us a platform to do that. Social media then, so Instagram, Facebook, it's all Silver Salmon Challenge. I mean, you look those up, you're going to get onto us. And we try to keep interactive, putting up little things throughout the winter to keep people engaged, to let them know that it's coming. It might be 4.5, 5 months away, but it's coming, and it's get ready for it because we're all excited.
And for the listeners, when I talked to Nick about the Silver Salmon Challenge, he's so excited. He's got these ideas. And I know Danny's told you before, like, Nick, we got 5 months to go, buddy. Like, we still got some time. So the excitement's real about the event. Nick, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me on the show today.
Oh, man, I want to thank you for giving us this platform to help share it. A lot of people don't know the drive behind this event, and I hope with this little chat between you and I, we can help people understand exactly what drives us.
For sure. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Nick from the Silver Salmon Challenge. Definitely stay up to date with them. Lots of big things coming this year, and I'm already getting excited. We're not even fishing for kings yet, and I'm excited for the event. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to this summer. It's that time of the show where I like to go over this week's poll results. Every week I put up a poll on Instagram and ask fishing-related questions. This week, I asked, what do you think the Silver Salmon Challenge winner will be this year? And I gave some options. I said less than 31 pounds, greater than 31 pounds, greater than 32 pounds, or less than 30 pounds. And the winner astoundingly said over 32 pounds will win this year. I concur. I think this year we will see a fish above 32 pounds. Last year it was 35 pounds. That was a giant fish. And our lake is very capable of kicking those out every year. And I think that we'll see it again this year. So guys, let's go to the next part of the show. It's the time of the show where we're going to do our giveaway for the week. This week's giveaway is brought to you by the Silver Salmon Challenge. And this week's giveaway can be won by subscribing to the YouTube channel to stay up to date on all our discussions here, and also by commenting what your favorite offshore species is. So if it's Chinook salmon, comment that. If it's rainbow trout, comment that, and so on. You have to do both of these things to be eligible. I keep track of who subscribes, who comments, I put them together, I put them in a blender, and then I pick a name. So that's how it's done. Don't miss out this week. It's a great giveaway. Thanks again for tuning in. As you know, I like to end the show off with a positive message to leave everyone feeling great and ready for whatever next week brings for them. This week, I'd like to say that with spring just around the corner, we've almost made it because there's an awesome soft water season waiting for you. Hook sets are free, get outside, and go fishing. Peace.